Hi, here's another one of my videos. Like in the other one, I just start out with a medium gray tone. You may have noticed I don't start with pencil lines very often for my sketchbook because it's just practice and I figure it makes me commit to a line really strongly right from the beginning. So in this case, I'm doing 3 bottles of flavor extracts and 2 of them are glass and 1 is plastic. And I thought that would be an interesting challenge because of the glass being amber color and the plastic is sort of this white opaque color. So, um, the main thing about this one is you may notice I correct the shapes of the bottles several times over the course of this painting. I use a little bit of water and I blot off the lines that I don't like and try to fix the edges the best I can. So there's good and bad things about not using pencil to start with, but I just try to wing it the best I can because it's my sketchbook and it's just practice. So I switch back and forth between large brushes and small brushes depending on the area that I'm working on. In this case, I have a detail brush to add some of the small highlights. And later on, I go back and add some of the shadows with the larger brush again. Again, this is gouache, and I'm working with a fairly limited palette of colors, even though it looks like I have a lot of colors in my palette. I really only use maybe no more than 5 or 6 in any painting. I try to plan ahead of time which colors I'm going to use so they harmonize well. Interestingly, the opaque plastic bottle is white in appearance, but when you're painting it, it actually is quite gray. And the same thing with the labels on the bottles. At first glance, they all appear white, but they are really quite shaded gray with different highlights and shadows. So I want to get those areas of highlight and shadow in there before I do any detailed lettering, which will come towards the end. The neon fluorescent price tag sticker, there's really no equivalent in paint no matter what, unless you had bright neon paint. So I'm just going to do the best I can with bright orange for that. And I try to add a little bit of the bright orange to some other areas in the brown glass just to make the painting harmonize and have it not stick out too much. Hopefully you can see in this video the actual objects that I'm painting. It seems like they cast a greenish shadow, and that's kind of an illusion, but I liked the way it looked, so I added it in my painting too. The trick about painting glass, whether it's clear, brown, or any other color, is you're not actually painting what you think it looks like. You're painting the reflections of all the other colors on it. So in this case, you can see through the glass and the label wraps around the bottle, and you can see the edge of the label, but you can also see reflected highlights from what is facing the bottles, which in this case is the light source with the bright highlight. And I also had a window off to my left with some dim light shining through, and that added another light source. So there's highlights coming from a whole bunch of different places in this case. To do the lettering, I hold my breath just because it's so tiny, and I try to get as fine a line as possible. If I mess it up, gouache is very forgiving. I can wipe it off or I can go back over it. Adding the bright white highlights is always the very last step for me. Thank you so much for watching.